Hi guys, Ativ here, and in this video, I'll be talking about my NFL Week 4 predictions, and we have a special guest, so would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, so I'm UAP. Those of you who might know me, I run a political channel. For those of you who don't know me, I run a political channel. So I usually like to talk politics, but today we're not going to be doing that, and we're going to be, talking football. This week I am a Seahawks fan, and I know Tiv's a Niners fan, so we're going to have some friendly banter about who is going to be the victor of some of these games. So do you want to get started?
Sure. So we can go right to slide 1.
Alright, so I'll go first. Whoops, I think I did the transition. But this is Thursday Night Football. This is going to be, for those of you who watch Urinating Tree, this is going to be our first tank bowl of the year. I mean, that's my prediction. These are both two really awful teams. I think the Jets are worse, which is why I do believe that the Broncos are going to win. So, the Broncos essentially get a free win here. They're not that good, but when you're playing the Jets, you should always be expecting to win. The Jets I believe that Adam Gase is the worst coach. I have no idea why the Jets hired him in the first place, but they did. And their offense has been abysmal this year. I mean, they were okay against Buffalo. They scored 17 points, but the following week they got embarrassed by what was left of the San Francisco 49ers. And then after that, they got demolished by the Indianapolis Colts. So they've gotten blown out. They lost by 10 points to Buffalo. They lost by 18 to San Francisco. And they lost by 29 to Indianapolis. So the Jets are not really a good team. The Broncos aren't that great either. But, I'm just going to say, I think they're going to win this game because they're going to minimize the mistakes. I mean, Jeff Driscoll, again, not a great quarterback, but minimal mistakes should lead them to, a low-scoring, boring victory against the Jets.
Yes, I completely agree with you, EP. I have the Broncos winning as well. I mean, Sam Darnold, the Jets basically wasted all his talent. I do think Adam Gase is the worst head coach as well. I mean, Jamison Crowder had that good game versus the Bills with, a touchdown and 113 yards in that great touchdown. But, I mean, Le'Veon Bell isn't Le'Veon Bell anymore, and it's just they lost Jamal Adams. I mean, sure, you got Bradley McDougald, but what is he going to do for you? And, I mean, y'all lost C.J. Mosley for this season because he opted out. So, at this point, when your best player, it's Le'Veon Bell, maybe? I mean,
what's left of Le'Veon Bell?
Exactly. Your team is not a good team at all. I think that the Jets are the only team right now that can go 0-16. And I mean, the Dolphins don't have a chance right now of going 0-16, nor do the Jaguars, because they've already both won one game. So I think right now the Jets might actually go 0-16 because of how badly they're playing. But yeah.
Alright, hopefully for Jets fans, they cleaned up by the end of the season to avoid joining the Detroit Lions and Cleveland Browns in that unfortunate club. So we're going to move on to this game is going to look like a blowout. The Detroit Lions came off an impressive victory against the Arizona Cardinals, which I'm pretty happy about. I mean, the Cardinals, they had a nice streak going there. They beat the Niners, obviously. That was a big game. And then they beat they beat the Washington football team in week 2. So they were 2-0, and that is the toughest division in football. So I'm happy that the Cardinals got embarrassed by the Lions. And you're going to say that they didn't lose by that much. Well, when you lose to the Lions at home, you're getting embarrassed. So the Lions, they're going to be some hype. The Lions there's always that one game where they beat a team that they're not expected to beat. But, New Orleans Saints are a good team. I mean, they're going to be really angry because they've just lost 2 in a row. They lost a really tough game to the Oakland Raiders in front of the whole world, and then you lost to the Packers in a game that they should have won. I mean, there were a couple of questionable calls, as always in Saints games, but, they had a lot of opportunities to win that game against Green Bay. They lost. I picked the Saints to win that game, so I'm going to pick them again because this is the Lions after all. But don't make the mistake of picking the Lions, getting on that bandwagon. The Lions are not a good team. They're not very well coached, in my opinion. And, Kenny Galladay is back, which is going to score an additional touchdown for them. But the Saints are just the better team. They're going to be very, very angry after losing 2 really tough games to Oakland and Green Bay. So, Tiv, I'll hand you the door now.
Yeah, I have the Saints winning as well. I mean, Kenny Galladay did get a touchdown, but he's basically one of the, if not the best deep threat receivers in the game. I mean, you could put DeAndre Hopkins there because he just catches everything that you throw at him, and then you could put Tyler Lockett because he just always figures out a way to get open. But, I mean, I think that Matt Patricia is one of the worst head coaches in the league as well as Adam Gase. Like, look, when you have Matt Stafford, Kenny Galladay, and Marvin Jones, I mean, you'd expect to do better, right? And they did lose Snacks Harrison to your team, the Seahawks. And, I mean, Darius Slay left the Lions because of Matt Patricia. They wasted all of Matt Stafford's talent. He did have that one season where he threw 41 touchdowns and 16 interceptions. That was the same season Aaron Rodgers threw 45 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. And although that is a bit off topic, I feel like the Lions, I mean, if the Saints don't win by at least 10 here, then you can tell that there's something going on with the Saints. I mean, Drew Brees, he finally had a decent game versus the Packers, but they still lost. And I don't believe Michael Thomas played that game, but I do think Emmanuel Sanders got a touchdown. So they're showing that they have a lot of weapons and that they're very versatile. And honestly, if the Saints don't win here, then I think that it's done for the Saints. Like, I don't think that they have, I don't think that they have Super Bowl chances. Yeah, like.
Okay, I don't really know what to make of this game. I mean, the Chargers showed that they have the ability to beat very good teams like the Kansas City Chiefs, and then they laid an egg and lost to the Carolina Panthers, which would have been less embarrassing if they had still had Christian McCaffrey on the field. So, you know, the Chargers, I think they have a very good team. I think that they're almost on paper as good as the Buccaneers. But the Buccaneers have Tom Brady. The Chargers have Justin Herbert, who is a rookie, and, you know, he's looking good so far, but I don't trust the Chargers. The Buccaneers, they're finally looking like they are living up to their potential. They had a bad game against the Saints, but since then they've been pretty on point. They just came off of an easy win against the Denver Broncos. They should be pretty well rested. They didn't have a ton of injuries that game. I know Chris Godwin did get banged up a little bit, but I don't think that'll be an issue for them long term. So the Chargers' secondary, I think, could pose a little bit of problems, or a few problems for Tom Brady. But again, this is not a super stacked, offense for the Chargers. And again, on paper they're stacked, but they have not been able to achieve Keenan Allen's full potential. Mike Williams has not been playing like he was 2 years ago, and I understand that Austin Eckler's been playing pretty well, but the Buccaneers' run defense is no joke, and I think they'll be able to hold off the Chargers' attack. I think the Buccaneers are going to make this, or I think the Chargers are going to make this closer than a lot of people are going to think, but I don't think that they'll be able to pull off the upset in the end. And that if the Buccaneers are put in a position where it's a tie, they're losing at the end, I trust Tom Brady to go down the field and orchestrate a game-winning drive or game-tying drive. So, Tiv?
Yeah, adding on. So the Chargers, in my opinion, they have the best team. I've got to agree with that. I mean, when you have Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, who both got over 1,000 yards last season, and then Austin Eckler, who's looking like a beast. I mean, that's a really good team right there. And, the Chargers finally, they got Keenan Allen's full potential last game with, 130 yards and a touchdown or two? And, I mean, Austin Eckler had an insane game. Mike Williams didn't do too great, but the Chargers had a really good offensive game, but a terrible defensive game. I mean, their secondary couldn't do too much, and, I'm going to have to go with the Buccaneers winning this one. First of all, you have Tom Brady, who's, sure, he's a bit washed up, but he's still a good player. Then you have Mike Evans, who, he had 2 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns, which that was kind of weird. But you have Chris Godwin as well, who he's so like UEP said, Chris Godwin, he's a bit banged up, but still I feel like he can make things work. And then on the defense, you have Shaq Barrett, who I believe got a safety last game. And sure, you don't have the greatest defense of all time, but I think that you'll make it do it'll be good enough versus the Chargers.
All right, so now we have a interesting game. I think the Bungles, as I like to call them, because they have not won a playoff game since dinosaurs roamed the earth. But they have a franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow. I really believe in Joe Burrow. I've been saying that he's a good QB since he was drafted to this team, and they finally have a coach not named Marvin Lewis. So I think that they're on the right track. But the Jaguars. Whoops, I don't know why that came first, but okay.
Oh, sorry.
All right. So now spoiler alert. So I'm gonna go with the Jaguars, and I know that we're gonna disagree on this one. The Jaguars, I think they're gonna be really mad because they just got embarrassed by the Miami Dolphins on Thursday Night Football. They're coming off a long week. They had an extra few days of rest to prepare for the game against Cincinnati, and the Bungles. They just came off a really unsatisfying ending against the Philadelphia Eagles. They had a lot of chances to win that game, and they ended up tying. So that's not fun. It kind of demoralizes you to see we played all that and we tied. So I'm gonna keep it short. I think the Jaguars are gonna win. I think they're gonna be really angry about what happened to them against Miami, and I do think that they will be able to narrowly win this. I think it could be pretty high scoring because both these offenses have been seeming to get better and better over the course of the past few weeks. And the Jaguars, people are starting to count them out. I think I like what they've been doing. They got rid of a lot of toxic players, and at this point in time, I think that they're the better football team than the Cincinnati Bengals. So I think they're going to narrowly win by something like 34-31 or 28-24. Interesting game.
So yeah, UEP said that the Jaguars were the better team. I mean, they have Josh Allen on their defense who got 10.5 sacks as a rookie. And I feel like no one talks about him enough. But Gardner Minshew, I mean, what did he throw? 2 interceptions last game? And he didn't throw and he only threw 1 incompletion in his first game. So I feel like the Jaguars aren't going to have too much confidence. The Bengals, I mean, they tied with the Eagles, so they're going to have a bit more confidence than the Jaguars. And Joe Burrow had another great game with over 300 yards and 2+ touchdowns. And, I mean, Tyler Boyd had a really good game as well. But if the Bengals receivers can get it going, I think that the Bengals might win by at least 7. But, honestly, if the Bengals receivers don't get it going and they played like they played on Thursday night versus the Browns, then I see no chance in the... Was that Thursday night or Monday night? I'm not sure. I think it was Thursday night, though. Yeah. Alright, thanks. But if the Bengals receivers can't get it going and they don't catch anything, then I don't see too much hope in the Bengals. But if they can get it going, like I've been saying way too much, then I do think that they can win pretty easily. I mean, AJ Green didn't catch anything, I believe, on the Browns game. He went, 3 for 13. So when you have AJ Green doing that, then I just feel bad for Joe Burrow at that point. Joe Burrow's been playing out of his mind good, and Joe Mixon hasn't been doing that much either. So I don't know about the Bengals, but I'm just going to have them taking the win here because the Jaguars got just embarrassed, like UEP said, against the Dolphins. So yeah.
All right, now moving on. Vikings, Texans. These are 2 0-3 teams, but I think one is clearly better than the other. On one side, you have a quarterback who has not seemed to have been able to get it going. You have a depleted receiver core, and you have a solid running back, but that's basically the only bright spot of their offense so far. The Minnesota Vikings. I don't think they're a good team. I think their defense has been underachieving. Mike Zimmer, he's a decent coach. I don't have that much to say about him, honestly. But this team has been underachieving for a while now. And in the past few years, I mean, since I've been watching football, they've always found a way to disappoint their fans, whether it be getting destroyed by an injured Eagles team in the 2017 NFC Championship, blowing a 5-0 start to the 2016 NFL season, and then finishing, 8-8. And then also in 2019, they beat the Saints, but they got kind of destroyed by the 49ers in the divisional round. The Texans, I think that they made an atrocious move to trade DeAndre Hopkins to the Cardinals. I don't know what they were thinking. David Johnson, love the guy. Not as good as DeAndre Hopkins, nowhere near as good as DeAndre Hopkins. Bill O'Brien, I don't know what he was thinking, but they're still the better football team. Their defense has been more consistent, and They played the Steelers tough in a game that they were not favored to win. Whoa, I think the effects are off. They were not favored to beat the Steelers. They made it a lot closer than it should have been, I believe. And, they've hung in there. They've had a brutal start to the season. I mean, they've had to play the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Steelers, who are some of the best teams. I think those are, along with the Buffalo Bills, those are the best teams in the AFC, as well as Tennessee Titans. But the Houston Texans, I do think that they will win this game. I think that they'll win in a convincing fashion, something like 30-17. And I think that the Vikings are in big trouble, and they need to fix their quarterback situation. Kirk Cousins is not the answer. Case Keenum in 2017 was better than Kirk Cousins has been his whole career in Minnesota, and I think they got to draft someone. I'm going to be honest. Kirk Cousins is not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah, so sorry about the slideshow, but so I honestly have the Vikings winning. I don't think that the Texans have a run defense, and I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire ran all over their defense on the first NFL game. And if Dalvin Cook can get 181 yards if Dalvin Cook got 181 yards last game, then I feel like he can get over 200 yards this game. He's basically their only bright spot right now, but I feel like I honestly think he can get 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, which I know it sounds like some insane numbers, but if Adam Thielen can play like he played in week 1 with over 100 yards and I believe a touchdown or 2, then that should be definitely good enough. Because you have Yannick Ngakoue, you have Harrison Smith, and sure you lost Xavier Rhodes and Andrew Sendejo and Everson Griffin. The point is that the Vikings lost a lot of really good defensive players, but I think that their defense can't stop the Texans' offense. I mean, yes, Deshaun Watson has probably had to play the 3 basically best teams in the AFC, like UEP said, excluding the Titans.
And the Bills, don't forget about the Bills.
Yes, the Bills. But I think Deshaun Watson had a pretty good game last game. He's been throwing, I think he has 3 interceptions on the season, and I do like Deshaun Watson a lot. And I think that he probably will have a really good game because the Vikings, they don't have too great of a defense, but honestly, I think Dalvin Cook can just run all over the Texans. And I think that should get them the win there. And if Adam Thielen can maybe add another 60 yards and a touchdown, then I think that the Vikings should win this one.
All right. We're just going to move on. My Seattle Seahawks and the Miami Dolphins. I got the Seahawks in there. Whoops. Okay. Well, I guess you saw who that's my fault. But Seattle Seahawks. Chris Carson, by the way, I just got the news. He's out for 1 to 2 weeks, and I'm glad because I thought that injury was scary. By the way, Tristan Hill, what was he thinking? That was a dirty play. I mean, that was completely unnecessary.
Yeah, that's true.
Why he had to do that? That's dirty, and he should be suspended and fined. Chris Carson, though, he'll be back in 1 to 2 weeks. I don't think he'll play against Miami for the most part because it's Miami. They're playing the Niners, or a better team. I think Carson would be, hurrying to get back, but he has a week of rest. And Russell Wilson is playing like the MVP he is right now. 14 touchdowns in 3 games, and it should have been 15 because DK Metcalf decided to, channel his inner Deshaun Jackson with that touchdown that he easily could have had. We could have seen a 5 touchdowns a game ratio for the first 3 games for Russell Wilson, and I don't think he's projected to hit 70 touchdowns. I don't think that's going to happen. But this Seattle team is on fire right now, and I get that Jamal Adams did get injured. That's going to hurt them. He will be out for this game as well. His injury isn't serious long term. He could be, same with Chris Carson, 2 to 3 weeks out. But, Seattle, they're the better team here. Miami, I think Brian Flores is a good coach. They just came off of an impressive victory against the Jaguars. I think they'll be riding high coming into this game. And they are at home, so they have a few things going for them. But this is also after my birthday, so, Seahawks better win. But I was off topic. I don't know why I mentioned that.
No.
The Dolphins, I think that they're well coached. I think that they could be decent this year. But the Seahawks, they're just a better football team. They're looking to make a Super Bowl run this year. And I do think Russell Wilson will take care of business. He's going to throw at least 3 touchdowns. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Greg Olsen, Damon Snacks Harrison, who was a great addition for that depleted pass rush. They'll be able to take care of it, and I think they're going to win by at least 2 touchdowns. Although knowing the Seahawks, they'll have to give me a heart attack, so...
Yeah, that's true. let's be real here. The Seahawks are probably going to make this game closer than it should be, but they're going to come out on top. I mean, like, if you don't have the Seahawks winning, then you probably don't have. Well, the point is that if you don't have the Seahawks winning in this game, then you probably don't have the Chiefs winning versus the Jaguars. Like, the Seahawks, they have right now the best quarterback in the league, 14 touchdowns and 1 interception. Like UEP said.
Shouldn't even have been an interception. Greg Olsen should have called that. It's not,
Yeah, that's true. But like UEP said, Russell Wilson's on pace for 70 touchdowns. I can see him getting 50 right now. And I mean, let's be real here. Tyler Lockett's right now playing like the best deep threat receiver in the game. 3 touchdowns with 100 yards. Russell Wilson made some really nice throws. Russell Wilson's probably the best deep threat QB as well right now. The Seahawks are just playing out of their minds.
All right. So I think we both agree that Seattle is going to beat Miami. And this is a really, really interesting matchup. I'm going to watch this game, Of course, I'll be watching my Seahawks play at 10 a.m. But I do want to check out this game because I really like both of these teams. I think the Steelers, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I think that their record is they were 13-3 in 2017. They had a lot of toxic players in that team. The Killer Bees, as we all know, are all very they're divas. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger, don't want to get too much into that, but Antonio Brown, as we figured out, was crazy. And Le'Veon Bell, held out, and that locker room must have been awful. But this team is likable now. We have a good coach in Mike Tomlin, and I think, I should have shown that. And I think that they have a chance of winning that division, and I think that they will go to the playoffs, especially with the 7-team format. But Tennessee Titans, I think they're an even better football team than the Pittsburgh Steelers. I really like Mike Vrabel. He is a great coach. I think they made a very good decision hiring Mike Mularkey back a few years ago. And Ryan Tannehill, I was skeptical of them giving him the contract in the offseason, to the effect of a Case Keenum. He has one good season, magical season, and then he goes back to the average quarterback he is. But, Ryan Tannehill, I think I'm starting to believe in him. And when he's healthy, he is a good quarterback. And the Titans don't need him to light it up every game, but they do need him to not make mistakes. And he hasn't done that so far. The Titans do like to start off slow. But this year they're not doing that. They're 3-0. They're looking as good as they ever have been in my lifetime. And I think they are going to win this game and defeat the Steelers in a more defensive matchup. I think it'll be like 21-17 or 20-16, something like that. So I'll let Ativ go because this is a few games that we disagree on.
So sure, Derrick Henry's the yards leader, but have you seen how many carries this guy is getting? Yes, he's averaging around 4 yards per carry, but, I mean, okay, I guess I don't blame them for just feeding him. A.J. Brown has been injured for a couple of games, but, I don't see the Titans winning this one. James Conner had a really good game with, 109 yards and a touchdown. Deontay Johnson. So, I have the Steelers winning, and the reason for this is Deontay Johnson, he had a great game in week 2, I believe, with over 100 yards, and, I mean, Ben Roethlisberger is showing that he can throw the football for sure, and the Steelers are just playing good football. Their defense, TJ Watt had 2.5 sacks in 2 games, but Dupree got 1.5 sacks last game, I believe. And you have Minkah Fitzpatrick as well, who's a top 5 safety in the league, in my opinion. So your defense is set. Your offense, James Conner, Ben Roethlisberger, Deontay Johnson. That's just a good offense. That's basically it. And a good defense. Very well-rounded team. And I see the Steelers winning this one.
All right, and we will, by the way, come back and see who is right on these teams. So, the Dallas Cowboys and the Cleveland Browns, 2 eternally underachieving teams. 10 a.m. game in Dallas. I don't like the Cowboys at all, but they're going to win it, and I'm going to tell you why. The Cleveland Browns will be the Cleveland Browns. They had a great game. They finally achieved their full potential. They scored 35 points against the Cincinnati Bengals. They beat up on the Bengals, who, Joe Burrow's great and all, but that defense still needs a lot of work. Especially Geno Watkins has been the only consistent part of that defense for the past few years. But the Dallas Cowboys, they've been more consistent in that they've been going, 9-7, 8-8, 10-6, and I think that this should be their game to win. I mean, it's in Dallas. Uh, they can't. They're probably gonna be angry. I mean, they had a lot of penalties. They were undisciplined. They had a chance to win that game last Sunday at Seattle, but they didn't win. And I think when teams lose in close games like that, they come back even stronger the next week. And the Browns are a worse team than the Seahawks, and I do think that the Cowboys will win this game. Baker Mayfield. I don't like Baker Mayfield at all, I'm going to be honest, so I may be biased. But again, I don't like the Cowboys. I don't like Dak Prescott. So two teams that I wish they could just tie. And by the way, the Dallas Cowboys do not deserve to win that division. If they were in any other division, they'd be getting destroyed. But they're going to go. They might be like the 2010 Seahawks and then go 7-9, and then win that division. So again, they don't deserve to be in the position they're in. But good for you all Cowboys fans. Enjoy it.
So let's be real here. No one likes the Cowboys except from Cowboys fans. And I mean, Cowboys fans love the Cowboys, have a crush on them, basically. But look, Dak Prescott, I'm one of the people who don't... I know that a lot of people say Dak Prescott's overrated. I do not think he's overrated. I don't think he's a $30 million quarterback, but I don't think he's overrated either. I mean, he's at 2 games with over 450 yards. He has over 1,100 yards in 3 games. He's the yards leader right now for passing. And sure, he throws a couple of interceptions, but honestly, he's not clutch, don't get me wrong, but during, the mid-game, that's where he strives. And the Browns, I mean, they're the Browns. I have the Cowboys winning for sure. I mean, if the Cowboys don't win this, I won't be surprised. Don't get me wrong, because these are 2 choky teams. But, I mean, Michael Gallup had a really good game last week, or this week, I guess you could say. Amari Cooper didn't play amazing, but he had an okay game, but he's pretty inconsistent. Zeke, he had a decent game, but he had a good game in week 1 and week 2. So, I mean, the Cowboys, they're probably the second most stacked team by roster, but Mike McCarthy is looking like Jason Garrett 2.0, although I miss Jason Garrett because he was just the greatest coach of all time. Mike McCarthy is looking almost as good as Jason Garrett, if you know what I mean, so I'm going to have to go with the Cowboys winning here.
Okay, Cardinals, Panthers, these are 2 teams that are coming out of crossroads. The Panthers might actually have hope in what appeared to be a lost season. The Cardinals were on fire, and then they decided to lay an egg and get defeated by the Detroit Lions at home. But I'm going to be real. The Cardinals are going to win this game, and they're going to be, they lost to the Lions. That's embarrassing. They're going to come back and they're going to earn their respect back from me, even though I don't like them. I want to see them lose. I want to see them suffer as a Seahawks fan. The Panthers, I think they're a good underdog team for the most part because I'm a big fan of the quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, who deserves his job. I mean, he's gone through so much. He's a truly spectacular human being. But the Panthers, Christian McCaffrey injured, that takes away a ton of hope for them having a successful season. And the Cardinals are just a better team. I'm not going to talk too much about this game, but I think Kyler Murray has the ability to run over that defense that's been astronomically awful since the season started. I got the Cardinals winning, and I'm pretty sure Ativ does as well.
Yes, I do have the Cardinals winning. I think Kyler Murray's second in interceptions right now behind Carson Wentz. He threw 2 interceptions last game, and he threw 1 interception per game for the other 2. But honestly, when you watch him play, his stats, even in his rookie season, his stats did not show how good he was. He threw... Yeah. What?
I said, he's one of those players that's better than your stats. Same with someone like Russell Wilson, for example. Him and Kyler Murray, 2 players that are a lot better.
Yeah, agreed. Kyler Murray, he had 20 touchdowns and 12 interceptions but he did have 3,600 yards, which is insane for a rookie. But Kyler Murray can throw dimes. He can run. Kyler Murray is very versatile. He knows what he's doing. He has a lot of football IQ. You have DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray. DeAndre Hopkins has already gone 2 games with over 130 yards. He actually had a career high for a game with 151, I believe, versus a team that is definitely the best 2-1 team in the league, the 49ers. And, I mean, let's be real here. The Panthers, I don't see them winning, but I'd be very surprised if the Panthers won.
Alright, so we have a pretty interesting game here. We have a 2-1 team, the Indianapolis Colts, going up against a 3-0, you heard that right, a 3-0 Chicago Bears team. I'm on the everyone bandwagon, and now I say the Bears are easily the worst 3-0 team. They're pretenders, not contenders. And in fact, I'm gonna go this far. I think that an 0-3 team like the Houston Texans is better than the Bears. So, yeah, I got the Colts in this game. The Colts are better coached. Like Matt Nagy, he had a great debut. They went 12-4. That's great, but they had a bad season the following year. And I think that they are trending good, I guess, because they finally benched Mitch Trubisky. And Nick Foles with his magic is going to come there, hopefully, for Bears fans, deliver them to a winning season. And they have the potential to do that. I mean, they've gotten off to a hot start, and they had that comeback against the Atlanta Falcons, who are being the Atlanta Falcons. But the Indianapolis Colts, Frank Reich, I believe he's in the top 5 best coaches in the NFL. He took a team that had essentially no talent on the defensive side and turned it into a top 10 defense in 2018. They were worse in 2019, but now I think that they're somewhere in the middle. I don't think that they're that great of a team, but I think they're better coached. I think Phillip Rivers is going to have a better game against this Bears secondary, and I know they're a good secondary, but remember, he had to deal with the Jets, and I don't know how to deal with, but they were winning in that game, so they weren't going to chuck it up to T.Y. Hilton. By the way, T.Y. Hilton has not been producing as good stats as he usually does this year. That needs to cause for concern. Anyways, I'm veering off topic. I'm going to keep it short. The Colts, they're the better organization. I think the Bears are going to crash back to earth, and I think that they're going to narrowly lose this game. On the like of Cleveland's, is it still Adam Vinatieri?
Oh, I doubt it's Adam Vinatieri. I have
47 now. Whatever. I think they're going to lose this game. I think that the Colts are a better football team. So let Ativ go.
These are two. The teams, like, their record doesn't show how bad they are. This is gonna be a pretty good game. I believe I have the Colts winning this one. I have the Colts winning this one. I mean, my boy UEP does not like the Bears too much, though. But
I don't like the Bears. I just think that they're not. They could be 0-3. They're lucky that DeAndre Swift dropped that pass. Okay, 2-1. They had
good old Matt Patricia. Who did they play week 2 again?
I think you're frozen. Bears play.
Oh wait, am I still frozen?
No, not hearing you now.
All right.
I don't even know who they played in week 2. It was I guess it was a forgetful player. Alright, so, but and then they had a lucky comeback against Atlanta, so that team could be 0-3. So we're gonna move on now to the football team against the Ravens. I think we've all.
Yeah, there's not too much to be talked about in this game. Yeah, go.
They're losing to the Kansas City as of right now, but they're gonna beat the football team, and I think we all know that.
Yeah.
Giants Rams. Okay, we'll talk about this one. Okay, the Rams just came off of a really bad loss against Buffalo. They got themselves down 20-3, came back, and then lost because of a couple dumb penalties. And by the way, Rams fans, do not complain about penalties ever again in your life. You got the NFC Championship handed to you on a silver platter by the referees because of that PI call, or that non-existent PI call, rather. And then earlier in the game against Buffalo, that comeback was partially orchestrated by a dumb Hail Mary call, where Tyler Kroft got the ball, maintained possession, and then John Johnson slapped a paw on it, and they called an interception. So, that's y'all got lucky. Don't talk to me about the referees, Rams fans. You all can enjoy being the bottom feeders of the division this year, but you can beat the Giants. Go 3-1 Rams, and then the Giants are probably the second worst team in the NFL. Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes. I think that magic is starting to run out. Their offensive line is horrible. Their defense is horrible. Darius Slayton is like the one bright spot of that offense right now. Saquon Barkley's out for the year, by the way. And the Rams, if they don't win this, I don't even know what to say. This is a free victory, and I think Ateev has the same. You want to talk about this, or should we move on to the same time?
I mean, I'm just gonna say it. I'm pretty sure even the Cardinals fans hate the Rams. Like, no one likes the Rams from the NFC West.
Yeah. Okay. This is an interesting matchup, but I think the Chiefs are going to win. I think they're the better football team. The Patriots played well, and by the way, I actually got the game right against Oakland. There were a lot of people picking the Raiders to go start off 3-0. I'm confident in Bill Belichick. That guy he's a magician. I don't know what he does, but he finds a way to win games that infuriate me. The Patriots do not, they have who are their receivers other than Julian Edelman?
Exactly, bro.
Demir Bird? That's only
Rex Burkhead and Sony Michel played out of their minds.
So, this team is overachieving for sure. Congratulations, Patriots. You're somehow going to be good again. I don't know how you do it, but you're still going to lose to the Chiefs. I mean, I think the Chiefs are a little bit better than the Seattle Seahawks. I could see the Seahawks winning in a matchup against the Chiefs, but Chiefs are a little bit better than the Seahawks. And this game is being played in Kansas City. And I'm bringing up the Seahawks because the Patriots lost to the Seahawks, thank God, on Sunday Night Football last week. So, I'm going to be real. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. And I think they will start off the season 4-0. Ativ?
Yes, as UEP said, he has the Chiefs winning, and so do I. So, Chris Jones, he had a great play versus Lamar Jackson in the game that's going on right now, where he got Lamar Jackson to fumble. And Patrick Mahomes, he didn't have a great week 1. He had a comeback week 2. Not really comeback, because, everyone knows Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. And he's having an insane week 3 right now versus the Ravens, who are just falling apart in this game, but they're still a great team. And Tyreek Hill is having a pretty good game. He probably has, over 130 yards right now. And Clyde Hilaire, he was on pace for 80 yards. So the Chiefs, they're a pretty well-rounded team. And, honestly, I feel like the Patriots will make this game very close, though. I don't see the Chiefs winning by more than a touchdown.
I agree with you. Bill Belichick is going to be Bill Belichick. Here's a good one for all of you. The Buffalo Bills at the Oakland Raiders. I'm stuck in the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to have to get used to saying that.
Yeah.
Kind of back when the Chargers were the San Diego Chargers.
Bro.
So, for all of you kids, I'm going to be forever saying the Oakland Raiders. And, maybe in 20 years they'll move back to Oakland. So, these are two teams that are up and coming. I think that they are both young teams. They're both set for the future. But the Buffalo Bills, I think they have a better quarterback. I think their defense is obviously a lot better. I think that they just have more talent. In the Raiders, I think they are overachieving. And I think that people are hating on John Gruden way too much. I think he's a decent coach. And it looks like the Khalil Mack trade wasn't as bad as we all thought it was for them. But, the Oakland Raiders, I think they're going to make this game close. I think it'll actually be very close as everyone expects. But what we're going to see is the Buffalo Bills like to play zone defense. Derek Carr, Derek Carr is not, let me just say, he's not a deep ball thrower. And usually you like to exploit man defense, man coverage with, the deep ball. And I think that using the zone defense kind of dares him to throw deep, it takes that out of, how do I say this? It takes that out of the question, I guess you could say, for these two football teams, especially. I guess you could, or for the Oakland Raiders. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm saying. But for the Bills, Josh Allen loves to throw deep, loves to gamble, and the Raiders got rid of Carl Joseph, who was their best player in the secondary, I believe. Unless I'm, forgetting something. But the Raiders do not have a consistent secondary. And I think that the Raiders could make the playoffs this year. But the Bills are just a better football team. They had a great win against the Rams. They almost had their Atlanta Falcons moment and then realized that they're not the Atlanta Falcons. They're the Buffalo Bills. And they came back. They had a great play for the touchdown to Tyler Kroft. They got Tyler Kroft open, and he scored a touchdown. So, I think the Bills are going to win this game. Better football team, better defense, slightly better offense. And I know the Raiders beat the Saints, and their fans are really glad about that. And they're a good team, but the Buffalo Bills, I'm calling it, they're going to win the AFC East, and they're going to beat the Raiders. How about you, Ativ?
I absolutely hate the Raiders. They pissed me off. I mean, they thought that they were the better Bay Area team. Oh, sure, the Niners were going through their terrible times, but still, the Niners are a way better organization than the Raiders. Not many people like the Raiders. They're toxic. Bills are way better. Bills are gonna win this one. I hope Stephon Diggs goes off. I hope he breaks the record and gets 700 yards. I like the Bills a lot. I like Josh Allen a lot. He's playing out of his mind right now. He's another... Yes, exactly. That's how good he is. And I mean, I hope Tyler Kroft gets 5 million touchdowns. I hope the Raiders lose. I hope the Bills shut down the Raiders, which I actually could see happening. Because Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, he's not that great. But still, I mean, the Bills have...
I think Jordan Poyer is a great player, actually.
I mean... Sure, he doesn't get the love he deserves, but, he's probably the worst player in their secondary, and that's when you know that you have a good secondary. Then you have Josh Norman, and, of course, Micah Hyde, who is a great player as well. So the Bills, great team. I hope they win very easily.
And I just want to say one thing. Who's going to guard Stephon Diggs? That's a matchup problem for them. And then, if they contain Diggs, which is unlikely, John Brown's going to stretch the field. And then if they contain Brown, Cole Beasley's wide open. So that Buffalo Bills offense, and you have Devin Singletary who likes to catch passes as well. That is a five-headed monster. And Josh Allen can run, so
Yep.
It's going to become harder and harder to shut down. And Bills, this is still the beginning of the season. We're about to hit our quarter-through mark. They play well at the beginning of the season. So Sunday Night Football, this is not going to be a good game. I hate to say it, but the 49ers are going to win this game.
Yes, sir.
Have decided to be the Eagles and get injured, and the Niners have decided to be the Niners, and they are kind of say the fourers, because that 9 part I think is gone because half the team is injured. But enough jokes. The Niners, they impressed me. They absolutely clapped both the Jets and the Giants, and it'll be a little closer because the Eagles are a better coached team than both the Jets and Giants, but they're still going to win. The Eagles are big. By the way, upcoming schedule, they play Baltimore, they play Pittsburgh, and they get, I believe that they get, in Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and San Francisco. So, Eagles fans, you're in for a rough ride. I think it's payback for all the talking you did when you won the Super Bowl, so.
Yep.
Niners are going to win this game, probably by 2 touchdowns, something like that. The Eagles, they're in trouble. And Carson Wentz is right now playing really poorly. He hasn't been the same since that 2017 injury. And right now, I think the Niners, their odds are stacked against them with all those injuries, but they're going to be able to win this game, especially on Sunday Night Football. And Niners under Kyle Shanahan have a pretty good win there in the primetime fight. So, Dave, I'll let you quickly go on this. I know you're going to have the Niners win.
Kyle Shanahan, top 10 coach? Yup. Nick Mullins, best backup QB in the league? Yup. We have great running backs? Yup. Are our receivers really bad right now? Yup. Are we still going to win this game? Yes. Is our defense not good at all right now? Yes. Are we just too good for life? Yes. Are we the best 2-1 team in the league? Yes. Don't care about the Cardinals. Niners are the best 2-1 team in the league.
All right. And I have to go pretty soon, so we're going to try to wrap this up.
Yes.
Atlanta, Green Bay. The Falcons are a choke machine. They lost to the Seahawks, which is fair because everyone loses to the Seahawks.
Nope. Except from the Niners.
Oh, remind me. Okay, but they had a 20-0 lead against the Dallas Cowboys, and they found a way to lose that game just when we were starting to forget it, 28-3. And then they had a 99.6% chance of winning with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, 60-point lead against the Chicago Bears. They decided to lose that game. Dan Quinn, he better not sit down because his seat is the hottest it has ever been. I mean, there have been calls for him to get fired for the last few years now, and he hasn't gotten fired yet. Dan Quinn better. she's got to make this game at least competitive, or he's done. I mean, they need a spark because they are underachieving. They have some of the best receivers in the league. Calvin Ridley, who I do believe could be the next Chris Godwin, to quote my good friend Ativ, and of course Julio Jones. Todd Gurley is a shell of his former self, but he's still Todd Gurley. And that offensive line has been pretty abysmal, even though they have a lot of good players such as Alex Mack. At defense, they could be better for sure. Matt Ryan, he needs to clean some stuff up, but overall he's still a good quarterback. But looking at the other team, Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers is playing like a top 3 QB. Him, Mahomes, and Wilson, and throw Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, that when you round up the top 5. Those are the top 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. They're playing great. The Packers came off an impressive Sunday night victory against a good team, the Saints, and I think that they're going to win this game again. The Falcons are going to start off 0-4, and they deserve to because they choked away 2 easily winnable games. So, Ativ, wrap this up.
Packers are winning. Aaron Rodgers, like UEP said, top 3 QB in the league. Alan Lazard had a great game, showed his full potential. If Devontae Adams wins, this should be a blowout. Or if Devontae Adams plays, this should be a blowout. Kenny Clark, I'm not sure if he'll play, but if he does, that's just adding on to the blowout. So, yeah.
Alright, guys. That's it. We have done all the games. So thank you all so much for watching. Ativ, thanks for joining, or thanks for having me join you.
Thank you for joining me, my guy.
Alright. Thanks and goodbye.
Bye.